All right, Shalom Israel. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone. Much salutation to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be elect. Most High will, hopefully it's sooner than later, to the hopeful extended elect. Shalom blessings. Getting right into it, it's going to be a fairly quick video. I think I'm going to call this The Black Woman's Superpowers is Witchcraft. There's a song by Money Long. You know, even her name, but you know, she's I think a fairly new artist. She got a pretty voice, and it's a nice written song. You know, I think she wrote it herself. But you know, it's the scriptures teach us everything. You know, everything about ourselves, everything about women, everything about the world, everything about our enemies. You know, and you know, voices like the late Whitney Houston, real beautiful voice, along with others that we grew up on. Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige, some of the new ones, Ella May. You know, I'm talking about singers, and then which has me to go to this scripture right here. Is everything's in the scriptures, man. Everything that you could think of that relates to human and the heavens, you know. But for we use up on earth for wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It says Sirach 9:4. And I think this is another reason they took the Apocrypha out, because it tells you a lot about women, you know, and a lot about life. I mean, the whole Bible does. But it's a lot of gems and great, wisdom in there. Sirach 9:4 says, use not much the company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts, man. And her whole song is basically the song Superpowers. It's like she's trying to get with a man that she desires, and she's saying to herself, I'm always attracting things, but why does my superpower not work on she and the guy? So, and she's not expressive of how she used her superpowers. But, today that would be, a lot of women are into witchcraft and voodooism and putting stuff in men's drinks and baking them cakes with, yeast in them, the yeast from their panties. I mean, they got videos on this, urine. And I know it's one so-called black woman. She said voodoo is not witchcraft. Um, she said that other one. It was another thing that I know of it too. I just can't think of it right now. Um, she said that's witchcraft, but voodoo is not. But I looked up, went to the GPT, and I looked up goddess, which is a form of them having power too, or expressing the concept of power for a female. What it is for a female, it says a goddess, because a god is a man, and goddess would be a female. But females are really not. They really use the power of the man. I'm talking about more so earthly form right now. A goddess is traditionally understood as a female deity, revered in various religious, mythological, and spiritual systems. But the concept is far richer than just a female god. And you go down. Ancient civilizations, goddesses like Isis, which is Egypt, Athena, Greece, and Lakshmi, India embody powers such as wisdom, fertility, war, and love. And that's, we were under these nations. We were captive under the nations, so they had influence on us to worship other gods. And that's why the Most High was angry with Israel. That's one of the main commandments, is not to worship any other gods but Him. Well, the main commandment, the first commandment. Our people still worship Egypt today, and the gods of Egypt today, the gods of Greece today, and these other nations. It says, what in traditions like Hinduism or ancient Norse belief, goddesses are part of a pantheon, each with distinct roles and attributes. They got some called neo-paganism and Wicca. The triple goddess, maiden, mother, crone, represents the phases of life in the moon, emphasizing what does it say? Cyclical growth and feminine power. And they always talk about the strength of a woman carrying the baby in the womb for 9 months, breastfeeding the baby, those and the womanly duties that come with it, have kind of given them a sense of like, yeah, we the ones that do all the work. We the ones that have the power and the strength to bring forth children, to nurse children. And well, you see this generation, what has happened. They didn't do a good job. I mean, I'm not talking about all women. There are hardworking women, that few out there that love their children and take care of their children, raise their children right to the best of their ability, I guess. But, these, when they don't have any power, and it's, they say everything is male dominated in music, the world, and it is going because the Most High did that. He made man over woman. Adam was first formed, and then Eve. The man is over woman. Just like Yahweh Shai is over man, and Yahweh is over Yahweh Shai. Hey, we got to mention it all the time. That proves that they're different entities, because Yahweh is the head. It tells you in the scriptures in Corinthians that the head of Yahweh Shai is, it says God, but it's Yahweh. So come on, man. Anyway, so let me look up voodoo right quick. Because you're wondering what kind of superpower would a woman have. Now they got trail of super women like Wonder Woman, and what do you call it, Storm, and from X-Men, and Batgirl and all that. These Marvel characters, these DC characters, but they don't really get into those characters. They you don't see women going out there, dressing like Wonder Woman and all that, having a Wonder Woman T-shirt on. Now, a man to do it with wearing Superman a shirt, but a woman not so much. As far as these women, and then the women in the Bible that she kind of cater to relate to, is more on the horror side. They always mention Mary Magdalene. They'll never mention Sarah, which it says if you do what Sarah does, calling a man Lord, then you'll be the daughters of Sarah. Sarah means princess, Shara. So they rather, the industry. They rather go the whore route. They rather play the harlot. They rather be a witch, practice voodoo, as it says, West African roots. Those are our people, Haitians, hey, they were the priesthood Levites. They deep into that stuff, man. Uh, it says voodoo evolved from religions like the Fan and Yoruba traditions brought to Haiti by enslaved Africans, man. And if you read about the Levites, you can know. I mean, they were the portion of the Most High. They were held the oracles of God in a certain office with the Most High. So they, you could see they affected heavily on the left hand side when it came to this stuff backfiring on Israel as the curses. Catholic influence to preserve their beliefs under colonial oppression. Practitioners syncretized African deities called Iwa with Catholic saints. Haitian Revolution, voodoo played a pivotal role in the 1791 uprising that led to Haiti's independence. So, but there's other information. Uh, and, a lot of women in the comments, they said they felt this song, they had it on repeat. So, let me see if they got some of the lyrics down here. I could type it in. Money Long Superpowers lyrics. I'll just read some of it. She started off with saying, "Without you in my life, so far everything's alright. I know the day we meet, you will be the one for me. Synchronicity is how know it's meant to be. It's no coincidence you got everything I need." And then look how name Money Long. So a lot of these women chase money. So they'll have a rich dude that they desire that they want, and they'll either try to have a baby by him so they could get child support, or they'll put a spell on him. Spike his drink with her fluids. It says so she's basically dreaming about him through what she's saying now. We fit so perfectly. We got that chemistry. What I've been waiting for, my missing puzzle piece. If I attracted you, I'm always attracting things. How come my superpowers don't work on you and me? I know that loving you gonna take some super strength, so how come my superpowers don't work on you and me? And then some of it says, now I'm attracted to you with invisible strings. How come my superpowers don't work on everything? So, when they put forth their super strength, it's like, their superpowers is it's known, a known fact, and they call it it talks about in the scriptures escaping the sin Slaki, the godly man shall escape from her, because they are trap men. They learn from the best, Esau. Uh, so even those women that and men too, but we talking about the subject of women right now. They sing those songs. Whitney, as pretty as she was, a beautiful voice. She's with Clyde Davis and different kind of men, and and they always wonder why they get called sluts and whores, and men be called pimps and players. It's kind of like a upplay for men and downplay for them. But however they think about it, men ain't supposed to be whoremongers either. That's against our customs. So, but we can have more than one woman. We can have concubines, and they'll forever uh, be against that until they get into the kingdom. Or it even says in the day of thy power, thy people shall be willing. You know, so they're attracted to power. You know, so they don't really need power. They just use the power that they is presented to them or presented in front of them. But if the power, that they use is not working, then they'll go to witchcraft, which is the case. And that lets you know that it even says the daughters of music shall be brought low. You know, so now it's like you got these, these Meg the Stallions and Sexy Reds and Cardi B's and shit, man. Had nothing positive to say, nothing encourage, nothing helpful, beneficial to the man, nothing a pillar of rest, which they supposed to be. But anyway, let me look up this scripture. More bitter than death, a woman, King James Version. Ecclesiastes 7:26. It says, "And I find more bitter than death a woman whose heart, her mind is snares and nets." See, they'll try to trap you. They'll try to trap you with their own so-called, concept of powers, which is using, witchcraft. It's a movie called East Bayou. They showed you that in East Bayou. Uh, but Erica Badu tell you that she's a witch. She'll tell you herself she's a witch. She said Beyonce is a different kind of witch. And, when she got with Andre 3000, his whole life changed. He started acting weird in the mud and doing, that outcast thing. And he and Big Boy, they kind of was at odds at first, but he was like they thought about the money, so which money is another superpower for them. And a lot of these women don't even work; they just collect checks from men. But that's fading because Most High is taking that out of the earth. He's going, he's waking the man up. It says, whose heart and mind is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Who pleases the Most High shall escape from her, man. It's like dodging a bullet, man. And a lot of these women, when they, especially if they celebrity, like Vivica Fox, 60, and who is that? Tracy Ellis Ross and shit. They all lonely because they older and shit. And no man is want to deal with them. I mean, they know that they've been passed on through the industry. And, a man likes a young woman. That lets you know, too, that, you get a man to get married to a woman and his wife gets older and all that. He wants something young and tender. That's where them other wives come in. That's where them concubines come in, man. You're not the only special one to the man. He need a man that rules his domain and his castle, his palace. He need a lot of things taken care of in the house. He need a lot of things taken care of with his children. So he will get other women. But why is that the case? Why? I'm pretty sure they practice superpower, witchcraft too. The Vivica Fox, the Tracy Ellis Ross, and all that. And it doesn't work. Nobody wants Vivica Fox. She went from a fox to a bear. She's old news now. They want these young, fresh women. You know. Uh, look at Diddy and shit. But I didn't try to use him as an example because he's just wicked as hell, man. But find be a righteous man, because even Solomon said that in the scriptures. Out of 1,000, he found one, but out of 1,000 women, he found none. So, a misconception about, you know, that all, when women say all men are dogs. Shit it, it's actually the other way around. All these women are whores, man. And then you have somebody like Maya. She's into her like 40s, mid 40s, and maybe getting ready to get into hit 50, whatever. And she is pretty as she is. She married her damn self. Like damn, she can't. No nobody wants her. It's law. These are the same women that got access to rich men because they're celebrities. You know, but like I said, Most High is waking up, man. They like nah, they use good. She, and then they have a circle of Hollywood, so they didn't heard about her sleeping with, you know, this dude, that dude, this basketball player, this NFL player. You know, a lot of these bitches have babies that they didn't abort it like many times over because the field is plenty out there. It's just they you know they got access to acting and access to, like I said, those the sports world. They got access to, and they popular, so they sleep with it. All these actors and all that, these rappers. You know, but when they time run out, when they get old, they be looking for marriage and shit, and it's too late. So you know the whole witchcraft of this American that's used in America, even with our women, even with men doing drugs, selling drugs, that's all getting wasted, man. Most High is is turning this thing upside down, man, and running it to the ground, you know. But who is the real power? The Israelite man. We're the real power. That's why it says in she shall. Let me see. Get that scripture. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, King James Version. Psalms 110:3. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, and the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning thou hast the dew of thy youth, man. And when you wake up, you feel like a new person. Like we're gonna eventually get new bodies, but even in this present time, we're gonna be able to uh, express and manifest, or have it manifest through Yahweh Yahushai powers. You know, hey, in this lifetime, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, "We will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel. Just let us be called by thy name." Because back then it was a repost. Most High taking this back to the ancient world, like Elder Mawazazak in LA always say, we going back to the ancient days. You know, to where there was a beheading in Texas, man. We're going back to the ancient where, and I was watching. I just passed through the video because I watch the music world and all that, and uh, Patty LaBelle, what's her name, Chaka Khan, and Stephanie Mills and Gladys Knight supposed to join them. They're supposed to be a last powerhouse, and they'll call themselves divas R&B, the queens of R&B. Uh, See that they will not regard their kings of princes. That relates to our people too, because our people call themselves kings and queens and all that. But more so Esau talking about this world and the citizens thereof of countries and all that. But this whole the prophecy is going to affect everybody. Uh, like Jacob's trouble is going to affect everybody. But they said that was going to be definitely the last tour, what have you, of that old school R&B diva type of presentation, and um, you know, Shaka Khan. I think it was Shaka Khan. She said she got a writer, and that woman Sia. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. SIA. She she sung wrote songs for Rihanna. See that they don't sing with soul no more. Rihanna, she used to do that reggae stuff, but she don't sing with soul. She because they got Edomites write their songs. Rihanna had a song called "I'm in Love with the Monster under the bed" or something like that. Like who the hell, you know? And these women cheering her on because she's a woman, just because she's a woman. She could do any kind of witchcraft. She could murder men. Murder. She could be a serial killer, and women say, "See, she been hurt." You know, she. You know, if men wouldn't have been abusing and all that, nah, you on the level of Esau, man. Um, but she said that she was going to write her songs, so they're not. They selling out. They've sold out. You know, and I guarantee you, it's easier for a woman to sell out than a man. I guarantee you, it's easier for a woman to open her legs than a man to go in under hoardism, being enticed by a woman. Um, so, uh, yeah, the godly man shall escape from her. What else it says? I wanted to say on this. So yeah, the let me see. Rebellion is as witchcraft, King James Version. It says First Samuel 15:23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord. You know, so they rebellious women, rebellious people. He hath also rejected thee from being king, and that includes as women will apply to women that you ain't gonna be no queens. You ain't gonna be no goddesses no more. All that shit is gonna go out the door. It's people are gonna, you know, this world is Most High is turning this world back into righteousness. Now, the exorcism is there, the exercising is there. I mean, that's there. Even though he gonna destroy America, he's still there's still a representation of the standard of righteousness with his men, his prophets, his saints. That's going to be shown. It's manifest already. So, you know, people are going to start. Hey, Lauryn Hill just had a concert, and nobody was there. She was a big artist and had a great influence on our people. You know, even our people wanting to go back to the '90s and get back into the culture of things from the '80s and '90s, what have you. Nobody was there. So the music, the daughters of music, what is that scripture? Let me get that scripture, last scripture. Daughters of music shall be brought low, King James Version. Ecclesiastes 12:4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, and when the noise of the grinding is low, and one rises up, rises at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the song are bowed down. Um, that's saying the same thing, yeah. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. So, you know, but that's their witchcraft. I mean, they kind of like taking the aim of Esau. Esau's last aim is like, yeah, I got to get this new world order going. I got to get this, you know, MC help. You know, I got to get, you know, the AI thing and this and heavy in witchcraft, heavy in technology, and that's what they are. They nothing works for them no more. The money ain't really working, you know, Everything's going up. The prices are going up. The money is really not worth shit no more. You know, so they using witchcraft. They're using magic, so to speak, as you know, as their superpowers. And you ain't gonna be no Wonder Woman here. You're gonna have to wait to the kingdom. They're gonna have powers in the kingdom, but here you're gonna have to bow down. Here you're gonna have to, submit, because the Most High is the power of all powers. He, and then the Son. He is, and then He that saves, and then the princes of power, the gods is He. You know, that is a saint. He that is a prophet. He that is the son of God. Anyway, Shalom.